Weathered wings. What happens when art is washed away and drained from the soul? Will those born in the bosom of warmth have a skewed view of what's cold? What do they know? Where will they go? Where the table was once merry and plentiful, they aren't any seats. What happens when mouths open so wide they forget to eat? Crying for food, crying for you. Rise, my child. Though we have fallen on the floor, there are no more crumbs from the feast. What happens when we scratched and gnawed off all the marks of the beast? Will revelation still be our revelation, or do we need a reevaluation of our education? What happens when the Bible has guided you to a place of somber? Questions, quandaries, and doubts have left you in the wilderness to ponder. What happens when the place you once ran to for refuge has led you to feel alone? Shadowed and confused by old shelters with new outer shells but withered bones. A place where most pry about your problems, only praying it doesn't affect their own. What happens when the genie's long-lasting lamp no longer burns on the midnight oil? When the giant beanstalk has no more nutrients in its magical soil? When the old Nubian unity has been beat out of our community and our young kings and queens no longer act royal? What happens when the root of all heartache has been dried of all expectation, and their trees fall only to make sounds of life to give each other confirmation? For in autumn they realize no one really cares. What happens to dreams when you're too scared to close your eyes? When it's impossible to live a true life because this world's lies never die? Eternal cloudy days advertised as vanilla skies. When I don't have an answer for when my son asks why? What happens when a man's compass loses his conscience? When he admits he no longer knows the way, will you still follow and let him guide you? What happens when your savior is too far to find you? Were you ever really lost? Or is this how he designed you? What happens when you're too tired of trying, too tired of hiding, too tired of crying, and too tired of being lied to? When your armor is being penetrated by the knife behind you, let me remind you, like wine-colored blood, the time will wash over you. What will you do when I no longer have a garment for you to cling to? For when my riches have too deteriorated to rags, what can I bring you? Weathered wings become difficult to steer. Flying becomes unstable and dangerous at these heights. Will you succumb to the fear? What happens when the cushion of gratitude is worn out and the anticipation of landing in comfort is obsolete? Free falling, how long will it last? Because most aren't afraid of flying, most are afraid to crash. What are we gonna do? Survive.